The night was not silent, it breathed. The wind carried the cries of beasts, the metallic scent of blood, and the pulse of something ancient beneath the earth. Kellan stood on the ridge overlooking the ruined valley, his sword resting against his shoulder, its blade cracked and dull from too many battles. His armor was torn, his body streaked with dried blood, but his eyes burned with purpose. Somewhere below, two small figures, twin children, waited in the hollow of a shattered temple, and surrounding them an army of monsters. The last rays of the sun dipped beneath the mountains, and with it came the roar, the signal that the hunt had begun. Scene 1: The Plea. It had started 3 nights ago in the border village of Marin's Hollow. A woman, tall and silver-haired, had ridden into town on a beast that shimmered like molten glass. Her eyes glowed faintly gold, and her voice carried an echo not of this world. She had begged the local guards for help, but they had turned her away, until Kellan heard her cries. "My children," she said, falling to her knees before him, "taken by the brood that hides beneath the old temple. They feed on life itself. Please, human. You're the only one left who dares fight them." Kellan had seen many strange beings in his time as a monster hunter, but none like her. She was no ordinary mother. She was Ilera, a being of the old races, the ones who had once ruled the skies before man learned to forge steel. "I'll bring them back," Kellan said. "But if I fall, run. Never come near that place again." Ilera had only nodded, eyes shimmering with tears that glowed faintly like stars. Into the descent. The temple was half buried in the cliffs of the Dead Vale, carved with runes that pulsed faintly under moonlight. The air around it was thick with decay and whispers. Kellan stepped through the broken archway, torch in one hand, blade in the other. The sound of dripping echoed through the dark. He could feel them, hundreds of them, moving in the shadows. The first attack came like a storm. Chitinous limbs burst from the walls, claws slashing, teeth snapping. Kellan swung his blade in a wide arc, cleaving through one creature's chest. Black blood hissed as it hit the stone floor. He fought like a man possessed. Each monster that fell seemed to birth 2 more. They came in waves: winged serpents, eyeless wolves, spider-bodied horrors with human faces. The air filled with shrieks. By the time he reached the first inner chamber, his torch had died, and only the light of the creature's eyes illuminated the way. Scene 3: The Chamber of Bones. He found the twins huddled beside a cracked altar, their small hands clutching each other. Their hair was white as moonlight, like their mother's, and their eyes glowed faintly blue. When Kellan stepped forward, something huge uncoiled from the shadows. The Broodmother. Her body was a mountain of flesh and scale, her face a mockery of beauty, half woman, half serpent. She hissed, her many arms unfurling, each clutching a broken skull. "You smell of her," she spat. "The Sky Witch. Her spawn are mine now. Their power will keep my brood alive." Kellan gripped his sword tighter. "Then your brood dies with you." What followed was chaos. Kellan moved through her attacks with the precision of a man who had nothing left to lose. Each strike from her claws sent him crashing against walls, bones cracking, blood spilling. But he kept rising over and over, roaring through pain and exhaustion. He counted no longer, but when the chamber floor was slick with black ichor, and only the Broodmother remained standing, he drove his sword into her heart. The creature shrieked, a sound that split the stone, and collapsed in on itself like burning parchment. Silence fell. Kellan dropped to his knees, chest heaving. Around him lay the remains of hundreds of monsters, 300 by his last count. His sword shattered in his hand. He turned to the twins. "Your mother sent me." They blinked, eyes shimmering with relief. "You came," one whispered. "We thought the dark would eat us." He smiled faintly. "Not today." Scene 4: The Reward. When dawn broke, Ilara was waiting at the valley's edge. The moment she saw her children, she fell to her knees, arms trembling as she gathered them close. Kellan staggered behind them, armor in ruins, body a map of wounds. Ilara rose and walked to him. "You've done what none of my kind could," she said softly. "You bled for children not your own. Tell me, what can a mother of the old races give to a mortal in return?" Kellan tried to speak, but his voice failed him. His knees buckled, and Ilara caught him before he fell. Her hands glowed with golden light as she pressed them to his chest. Pain and warmth surged through him. The broken bones knit, the gashes sealed, but the scars, those she left. "Let them remain," she whispered, "so you remember why you lived." Then she kissed his brow, and for a moment the world around him dissolved into light, like standing in the heart of the sun. When he opened his eyes, the valley was empty. The temple was gone. Only the faint shimmer of starlight on the wind remained. Scene 5: The Legend. Years later, when travelers passed through Marin's Hollow, they would sometimes find a lone man sitting by the ridge, sharpening a sword that never dulled. His body was a canvas of scars, but his eyes still burned with the light of that ancient touch. When asked who he was, he'd only say, "I once saved the children of the sky, and their mother gave me more than life in return." Then he'd smile faintly at the horizon, where the stars flickered like the memory of her eyes. And though no one believed the tale of the man who slew 300 monsters, the valley remained quiet ever after, guarded, it was said, by a human whose scars show. Dawn painted the valley in pale gold as Kellan stumbled from the temple ruins, carrying the twins in his arms. Their small hands clung to his torn armor, and behind them, the corpses of hundreds of monsters smoked in the rising sun. At the edge of the cliffs, Ilara was waiting. The moment she saw her children, her composure broke. She ran forward, voice trembling with relief. "My babies!" she cried, pulling them close. The air shimmered around her as her true form bled through, wings of light unfolding, her hair glowing like molten silver. Kellan dropped to one knee, chest heaving. Blood seeped through his armor, and his sword lay broken beside him. "They're safe," he rasped. "That's all that matters." Ilara turned to him then, eyes bright with something deeper than gratitude. "You gave your blood, your strength, and nearly your soul," she said softly. "No human has ever done so for one of the Skyborn." She reached out, placing her hand over his heart. Warmth flooded through him, golden and pure. His wounds closed, his pain faded, but his scars remained. "Let them stay," she whispered. "Each one is proof of your courage." Kellan met her gaze, awed. "Then this is my reward." Ilara smiled faintly and leaned forward, her forehead touching his. "No, warrior. This is only my thanks. Your true reward is that my people will remember your name long after stars forget their light." When Kellan opened his eyes again, she and the twins were gone, vanished with the dawn. Only a soft breeze brushed his face, carrying the scent of starlight and warmth. He smiled through the pain, whispering to the sky, "Worth every scar." And the wind, for a moment, seemed to whisper back,